representative. Currently, we have Mr. Mlati is around. Kip Langat, that is his representative, is around. Professor Jagani is around, and Mr. Ndama is around. So we are taking off from there.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we are going to have some discussions, and we'll be dealing with the contributions of Tibet towards sustainable development. Possibly before we start, I would like first of all to applaud the management of Kisii National Polytechnic for organizing this interdisciplinary conference and inviting various stakeholders to attend. Now, basically, before I talk about the issues of Tibet, I can maybe highlight some of the issues that Tibet Authority has been undertaking. Now, as the overall regulator of a body for all the Tibet institutions in the country, Tibet is basically at the forefront of ensuring that all Tibet institutions embrace research and innovation, and also integrate them in all the training programs. Now, the integration of research and innovation in the training programs basically leads to creation of new knowledge. And this new knowledge is what is required to solve emerging societal problems, such as global warming, unpredictable climate change, buildup of hazardous fumes from automobile emissions, as well as the novel pandemics such as the COVID-19. Now, I'm glad to note that most of the research presentations that I saw here, both in the morning today, mainly highlighted on issues of renewable energy, which is actually going to ensure that we minimize the emissions from the automobiles as well as from the industries. This indeed is very important due to the importance of those renewable energy. Now, it is also important to note that this being a research session, research findings also provides a basis for informed decision-making as well as policy formulation. Now, we can only make good policies if we have some data. And this data is actually what our decisions are supposed to be based on. Now, in the morning, again, when I was walking around here, I was also impressed to note that there were a number of innovations that were being shown by the trainees. I could see that some of them are making very good wines. And the only problem with those wines is that they have not undergone the process of approval. And for them to be used now commercially, and which can even provide our various institutions with some extra source of income, because ideally, I do not see any reason why we should be importing wines into our country when we can easily make them. When I was talking to some of the trainees and the trainers, they were actually telling us that they were making them from some waste materials, which therefore means that their cost will be relatively low. And therefore, if we can be able to do that, then I think that can actually form a basis on which we can be able to commercialize some of our products. Now, the benefits of research to the society can be enhanced if the findings are effectively disseminated and commercialized. Now, most of the time we undertake our research, but they just remain as theories. The only time when they can become beneficial to the society is when we can convert those research findings into practice. And this can only be undertaken through commercialization of those research findings. Now, what I would like to note here is the fact that TVETA is promoting dissemination of research findings through the publication of the Kenya Journal of Tibet. And this one is again something that I would like to at least encourage most of the presenters. Our call for the papers for the KJ of Tibet is on right now. And if your research work resonates well with the themes and the sub-themes that you have displayed there, then I would actually like to encourage you to submit your papers so that we can review them. And if they are of the right quality, then we can be able to publish them in our KJ Journal of Tibet. I would also like to note the fact that the Ministry of Education under the State Department of Technical and Vocational Training is currently developing a framework for commercialization as well as establishment of incubation centers. And I do believe that as our principal was challenged this morning on how he has been able to use some of the equipment to do some commercialization, he will actually take up that challenge and not only use that one only, but also be able to identify other areas where commercialization can be done by the Kisii National Polytechnic. It is also important that we also have a very close collaboration with industries where we can eventually do what is called dual training programs. These dual training programs will ensure that our graduates eventually have got both the skills that are required by the industry as well as the one that they have acquired during their training. Now, lastly, maybe before I finish my initial talk, I would also like to inform you of the fact that in order to ensure that our skills compare with the international community, the Kenya, as you are aware, have already joined the World Skills International. So we believe that those skill competitions that you'll be actually working on here will eventually be escalated and to become national, and we can even take them to international levels. And then under sustainable development, you realize that if you check all the 17 areas where we have our SDGs, and then you check on Tibet, you will actually find out that Tibet is actually the master key for all the 17 sustainable development goals. Because if you check on areas of no hunger, if you check on areas where we have to talk about decent living, life on land, life under the ocean, Tibet can actually make contributions in those areas. And therefore, we cannot overemphasize the contribution that can be made by Tibet to the sustainable development goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Osawa. Tibet is very important, and that's why we are here. We would like to know the role of Tibet. The role of Tibet as far as the universities are concerned. And I would like to give this opportunity to Professor Jaganyi, Vice Chancellor, Mount Kenya, to briefly tell us something about the role of Tibet in the university. Professor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And for us as a university, we are looking at Tibet as a limping stone, a jumping stone to come to university, because most of the people who are taking Tibet then can end up taking that one and coming to university. Because what we know is that the people who have gone through Tibet, and when we're talking about sustainable development, they have those aspects that deal with sustainable development, such as the economic factor, or the economic development, and they have that in themselves. And then they also the issue of the social cultural aspect and the environmental and technology. So we are looking at them as people who have been prepared to come to university and to be able to transform what we may call as trade-specific training to a career-oriented training. In other words, they take the step from Tibet and they actually make it into a career. So from us, from our university, we look at it from that point of view. So if I may just—
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very good. Now, nice response from the university. Does the county government have a role in Tibet? CEC, Mr. Ndama.
Definitely the county government has a role in Tibet. But again, more importantly, the beneficiaries of Tibet are usually the residents of the county in terms of the population getting the required skills that can bring about employability, and also businesses and enterprise within the county, and the counties in Kenya that may require the skills. So to get back to the topic that we are tackling, I will say that Tibet has a role to play generally in the sustainable development. And I will start with the role they play in provision of relevant training programs. You realize that Tibet institutions offer a whole range of courses, and sustainable development requires that a country is able to develop in all fronts, in matters trade and industry, in matters infrastructure, in matters hospitality, in all the sectors. And Tibet institutions are normally available to offer courses relevant to industry, relevant to all these fronts that require sustainable development. The impact and the way training institutions can respond to that and be able to contribute positively to sustainable development is tailor courses that address the requirements for national development. For instance, in our country, Kenya, we have got the Big Four agenda, which is affordable housing. We've got healthcare. We've got to focus on manufacturing. Yeah, you know, the Big Four agenda. So if Tibet institutions are able to come up with courses that respond to the national needs and also the international development framework, being the Vision 2030, like in our country, the SDGs and so on, Tibet institutions will then be able to respond. Secondly—
Thank you. Just stop it there.
Okay.
You have brought in a nice idea, relevance. When we talk about relevance, we are thinking about the industry. Are we really offering relevant training in our institutions? Professor?
I think we are, because at the end of the day, the way the curriculum itself has been designed, it is actually addressing some of the challenges that need to be addressed. We are training the plumbers, people who can actually go out there and be job creators, people who can be able to employ themselves. So what we are simply saying is it is relevant because the people who are living Tibet are employable. And that means that they are contributing to the Kenyan economy in one way or the other.
Good. Dr. Sawa, relevance. What will you say as far as Tibet is concerned?
Maybe just to add on what Prof said on the relevance of the Tibet training to the industry. one of the aspects that has been brought about by the reforms that is being undertaken by the Ministry of Education is the movement from the knowledge-based to the demand-based. And in this demand-based, we are now talking about the competency-based education and training. And in order to address the needs of the industry, what is currently happening is that whenever we are developing any curricula, then the industry experts must be involved, and they're usually referred to as the sector skills advisory councils.
Thank you.
Now, yes.
Now, you must have walked around out there and seen what our youth are presenting. Do you think what they are showing can give us the confidence that they can be able to join the work market because of the relevant training? Do you think we are okay, Bwana Ndama?
I think we are moving to the right direction. I was able to visit the booth for Kisii County Vocational Training Centers, and I was very impressed with what I saw. What we need to do as Tibet institutions is to invest in technological advancement and bring about incentives that can make the graduates or even the trainees and even trainers innovate solutions that can fit the market of today. Because what they produce should be able to be sold here locally and even internationally. So technology, investment in technology, giving incentives that bring about creativity and innovation should be the way forward.
Innovation. I like Mr. Ndama. You are bringing always a new word that challenges us. For a long time, most of our institutions were giving training using Second World War equipment. And I'm sure we should be having change with the objective of quality. Are we set to provide quality training in our TVET institutions? Professor, at the university, can you tell us something? Quality.
Quality is something which is, I will simply say quality is subjective, because it depends. You cannot talk about quality for yourself. You need to be judged by somebody else. And what I have seen as being displayed and the presentation, if I just may refer to one, which was being presented in terms of developing a water system, a hot water system. And I saw the innovation in the sense that they're using magnesium oxide to create a vacuum. And then through that particular vacuum, they are using the very basic knowledge of heat transfer. That vacuum is the worst heat transfer. And therefore they can be able to heat water and keep it. Now that is innovation, which we need to be able to compare it. How effective is it compared to all the other commercial heaters that we have in the market? So the issue of quality, again, comes in with the issue of technology, as has been indicated. Are we infusing into our training the technology of the 21st century? The fourth industrial revolution, is that the direction we are going? Because if we are still on the third industrial revolution, then that train left the station long time ago. And therefore the issue of quality is an issue that we need to be able to look at where is the technology going and be able to move on with the technology and be able to then talk about quality of our training.
Thank you very much. When we talk about quality, what has the county government done to ensure there's quality in Tibet?
Thank you. Speaking as the Minister for Education in the county, I must say that we have come from far, and working with the authority, Tibet, that regularizes us, we've been able to register 59 vocational training centers. And you know, for you to be registered, you've got to comply. There are very strict and stringent things that you've got to do. And for me, I think because all those institutions are registered, then there is compliance. Secondly, as providers of Tibet training, we are moving to highly specialized courses. And in line with the competency-based education training and certification of master trainers using the CDAC guidelines, we're able now to start training people on very specific solutions. You've had people look for a gypsum guy, someone who can fix gypsum from Tanzania, from other places, an expert in tiling. People are moving towards getting an expert in plastering, an expert in bricklaying. So these days we don't talk about the whole aspect of building and construction. So we're moving towards those specializations and designated certain vocational training centers for particular highly specialized courses. And that should be a contribution towards ensuring quality training. Thank you.
Very good. I want to welcome Mr. Pravin from Kenya National Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Gideon Murenga is from GIZ. I'm sure, Gideon, you can hear us?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Gideon, get us?
I can hear you well. Are you able to hear me?
I believe that...
Can you hear me? I can hear you well.
Also very clear.
Okay, thank you.
Is very clear the dual type of training. I would like you to briefly tell us how dual training will benefit us in terms of quality training and relevance, briefly.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, moderator. Yeah, so my name is Gideon Murenga. I am a Tibet technical advisor at GIZ. And just probably maybe just to give a background to that, probably there are those who do not know who GIZ is. So GIZ is a federal enterprise that supports the German government when it comes to achieving its objectives in the field of international cooperation. And this is done basically for sustainable development. So in Kenya, the main priority areas for GIZ are in sustainable economic development and employment promotion, as well as agriculture and food security. Therefore, you can see that sustainable economic development is really at the core of the key areas that GIZ is focusing in. So just to come in close the home with the dual project. So GIZ is implementing a dual or a cooperative vocational training approach in Kenya. And this project started in 2019. The project is a result of the agreement between the Kenyan and German government. And the main objective is really to establish preconditions for implementation of an employment-oriented cooperative vocational training in close collaboration with the private sector. And therefore, there are two arms to this project. There is the technical cooperation component that GIZ does, and there is what we refer to as the financial cooperation component that is being handled by KfW, or that's the German Development Bank. So how the two merge is that GIZ does the softer parts, that's the capacity development, the curriculum development, and so on, while on the other side, KFW is doing the hardware components. So construction of the state-of-the-art training workshops, as well as equipping those workshops. So there are three institutions that we started with in 2019 who have already admitted students. And these are Nairobi Technical Training Institute in the field of automotive mechatronics, Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology in the field of industrial mechatronics, and then Thika Technical Training Institute in the field of auto body repair. And the approach here is that we are positioning the industries or the private sector to be at the center of the implementation of this training. So how it is designed is that for the entire duration of the training that the students are learning, they will spend 50% of their training at the industry, split at the middle. So the curriculum is developed with the input of the industry, but after that it is split. So that we have a TTI industry, a TTI-based training plan and an industry-based training plan. The industry mentors are trained on how to implement that curriculum, and then the TTI trainers handle the other components of the curriculum. At the end of the day, what is covered at the workplace and what is covered at the school are able to provide the whole cycle of learning to the learners. So in brief, that is how the dual training approach that we have started with is working. Right now, we had the pioneer cohort students that were admitted in October last year. The model of how they are transitioning, we are using what we refer to as a block release model. So they are released in blocks. Okay. First of all, the first 3 months, they start at the school. Then the other 3 months, they go to the industry. Then they come back to the school for 3 months, then back to the industry for 3 months. So that is the alternate model of training that we are doing.
Good. From there, we get it now very clear. GIZ is keen on dual. The county government is very keen on Tibet to ensure that there's relevance and quality. The universities are in it. The key question now comes, are we talking about imagined things or it is realistic? Mr. Pravin, are we bringing in the market people you believe can do the work, or you have to retrain them again?
Thank you very much, moderator. And first of all, let me start with an apology for being late. So my answer to that question is, we are a firm believer of dual model, which is very important. Primarily, the answer to your question, yes, we have to sit and reskill individuals once they are out. Probably this is because of a disconnect that we always used to have between the academia and industry. But I want to applaud the Tibet institution and also the government of Kenya with the recent adjustments that they have made, wherein the primary focus is now to give industrial exposure is mandatory. The dual becomes very important because according to the Kenyan standard right now, what I understand is 50-50, 50 practical and 50 would be theory, which is a very good, but as compared to Germany, which is 70-30, but still it's a right step that we have taken ahead, a step that we have taken in a positive direction. Yes, this COVID was a classical case. Because of COVID situation, there has been scenarios, the existing work became negligent or of no use. So it became very important to be reskilling and upskilling the skills that never had. For example, I want to give just a simple example. Most of the donors, whether it is AMREF or Mercy Corp, they want to ensure that there is some sort of reskilling that always happens before they give you funding as well for any project. So yes, there has been a lot of initiatives been put in by the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce alongside the different development partners. One of the most important aspect in 2020 is we trained close to around 30,000 with different development partners, whether it is equity, to name a few. We have Agar, We also have Amref Italia, who assisted the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, who was a leader of SMEs in this country. So we developed, reskilled this individual. So yes, the answer to your question is we had to reskill them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Osara, do we have any standards on quality? And what are these standards?
Well, we have developed a number of standards on how to improve the quality of training. Now,
Talk about we, you're talking about TIP.
well, within the Tibet sector,
Okay.
we have developed collectively a number of standards on training. And some of these standards normally involve the training facilities which are required for each and every course of training. We also have standards on trainer qualification framework, the qualifications that each and every trainer must have for them to be able to train courses in their areas of specialization. And again, to ensure that we have what we call skills matching and anticipation, we have recommended that all the Tibet trainers must undergo continuous professional development. And this is expected to ensure that they keep abreast with the changes in the technology in their various areas of specialization. So these are actually things that have been put in place. But just maybe to add on one issue on the issue of involvement of the industries in training, there are a number of collaborations and partnerships that we are trying to create. And in addition to this, we are also proposing the establishment of a national skills occupation authority or corporation. Like in India, if we have a national skills occupation standards corporation, which is owned 51% by the industry, that is the private sector, and 49% by the government. They are the ones who decide which curricula is supposed to be developed, and they also make proposals on what they want to be included in the training. And that one ensures that once the industry is also involved, they will actually not complain about being given half-baked graduates whom they have to go further and offer some further training again.
Professor, I'm sure you would like to say something about curriculum design as far as the universities are concerned to achieve this objective of quality.
For university, the curriculum design is something which involves participation of a number of stakeholders. It involves the industry so that the curriculum is relevant. Number two, it is subjected to the accreditation by the various bodies, depending on which curriculum you're talking about. So those are checks and balances that are in place to make sure that the curriculum that is delivered is actually of high quality.
Good. Now, Mr. Pravin, you are representing the industry. These three friends of mine are trying to assure me that they are producing people of high quality and relevant. Would you say in one sentence, they're giving you the right people? Yes.
Yes. with the new changes that's happening, the answer is yes. In fact, I'm very happy to say, to add on, there are two counties that we are working right now. That's the county of Neri and county of Washin Gishu, wherein they have been trained by different Tibet universities or institutions, and then they've been brought to us for internship for 1 year. And I'm happy to say that they have been trained with the current necessities of industry. So I appreciate what they've been doing. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Professor Jaganyi and Mr. Andama, the CEC, your take. Would you say with a lot of confidence that indeed you are giving quality to the youth for employment?
I should say that we're giving quality with confidence, but as I said earlier, we all need to invest in advancement of technology and also on innovations. But I must say this, we can talk here and talk and talk. The moment we start realizing that the role of Tibet institutions is actually wealth creation and poverty reduction and problem solving, is the moment we'll get it right. Because when someone is given the right skills, they become employable. If someone gets a job or starts a business, they employ others. For those that can be employed and they make money, that money is invested again and more wealth is created and it's reinvested and more people are employed. Where we get it wrong as trainers is when we forget to train our learners, our trainees on business acumen and some life skills such that I think you agree with me that in Kenya, fundis are never trusted. I have come to find out that they are never trusted because they don't know how to cost their products. And someone works very hard, does a very good product. At the end of the day, he sells that at a loss. And is not able to then move on to make more products. Then they start disappearing. You order for a dress because there is a wedding next week. By the time you get there on Thursday or Friday for a wedding on Saturday, they are telling you it's almost ready. And at the end of the day, it is not ready because the fellow used your money to make a dress for the one who came earlier than you. And they end up moving out of that town to run away. So let's train our youth on business acumen so that they are able to get something out of this. Thank you.
Sir.
I think the previous speaker talking about the client failing, the people who are supposed to produce the product failing the client is actually the issue of attitude and values. And I tend to think that is we should be part and parcel of training people in Tibet. But if we are talking about producing quality graduates from Tibet, I'll simply say, yes, we do. And as I've already indicated before, is just that an issue, we need to be able to move to the technology aspect. And that is going to be the big game changers, because what we have seen, and has already been indicated, we are training people, but maybe we are not emphasizing this business of entrepreneurship. And if we can be able to do that, because look at Kisii National Polytechnic, it has got 10,000 students. Not all of them have to be employed. There need to be some people who are going to be entrepreneurial in terms of employing others. And maybe that is an aspect that need to be instilled in our training, the entrepreneurial part. We are providing the technical part. We are providing the industrial attachment, which provides the knowledge and the training aspect. but where are we inserting in the entrepreneurial section that you don't have to go out there and look for a job, go out there and generate a job for yourself and others.
Mr. Moren, are you still with us?
Yes, I can follow and hear very well.
I would like you to briefly tell us something about sustainability. GIZ comes in and starts a nice project. GIZ may close tomorrow the shop. Are we sure Tibet will continue? What is your take on that, Mr. Morenga?
Very good question there. So I think the issue of sustainability is a very important thing, as you mentioned, because as GIZ, yes, there are these very good lessons that are being brought into the country. Of course, we know, and I think this was mentioned in some of the presentations today about the success of the German dual training system, which is actually the model that we are looking at, running and pioneering in Kenya. They are very good models, but then I think it would be important. The sustainability capability is there, but I think much more will need to be undertaken to make sure that all the new proposals and the capacity development aspects are able to remain within. And I will just give an example. One of the success factors when it comes to running an effective TVET system is really the cooperation between the various stakeholders, the cooperation between the industry, the cooperation together with government, together with other key stakeholders. And I'll give an example. For example, the main institution that runs vocational training is in Germany is the Federal Institute for Vocational Education and Training. When you look at the composition of that board alone, it comprises of the national government and the equivalent of the national government, the equivalent of the county government. It includes representative from the institution. It includes industry, the chambers there, they are represented, including the trade unions, because these are future workers, and therefore their interests also have to be factored in already, during training, and they take part in design of that program. They take part when it comes to even assessment. The assessment there, right now we still see assessments where students sit down to write examinations here. They sit down to do theory papers. I think when you talk about TVET, TVET is more result oriented. TVET is about results. If your car is broken down and you call in a technician or a mechanic, what do you want to see? You want to see your vehicle fixed and working. These other things do not matter at all. Of course, there are some values and attitude aspects that will be integrated into it. So it's more about solution oriented. So how do we make TVET solution oriented? So those are some things that will need to be factored in to make these approaches sustainable. Yes, very good policies that GIZ and other development partners are supporting in development, but then there are aspects of implementation. How well will these policies be implemented? There are very good policies lying in our offices, in the ministry and many other places. We see this being unleashed in meetings that we attend. Yes. Implementation is an issue. So if we can be able maybe even to pick just even, let's say even 50% of what has been developed, I think that will be able to take us far much in a longer distance. But also to mention something about, you mentioned about quality. We need to look at TVET as a service provider to the labor market. And the moment we start looking at TVET that way, we'll be able to know at what level are we evaluating whether TVET is producing the results that are required or not.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Morenga. I would like to sum up the whole discussion with a question. The audience. I want to imagine the audience, we have the trainees, the non-trainees. How many of us will confidently take our child to a TVET institution for training? Wow. How many of us would confidently go for Tibet training given an opportunity? I think we shall have another discussion that we shall discuss the more details that we have left. Thank you again.
Thanks a lot for a very wonderful presentation and discussion. Before we move on to the next presentation, I would like you to watch Mr. Matris as Sylvia Macario, Jose Akili, Maureen Baka, as you take the podium. A very wonderful presentation. Kindly, let's have that video on before we move as the panel gets organized. Sylvia, organize your team.
Through personal experience, I came to know that the mattress quality in Kenya needed an attention, and I always wanted to do manufacturing for Kenyan youth. So combining those two, I decided to venture into mattress manufacturing. In 2013, I hired the first showroom in Second Parklands and brought ready mattresses. Response was very good, and we decided to bring in machinery in 2014. And in 2015, January, we were in full production.
We introduced technologies like viscomemory foam, pocket springs, zippered washable cover, natural latex, and rollback mattresses into the market.
Our spring mattresses are manufactured locally using imported steel wire, which is coiled and heat treated to ensure that the springs do not reduce in height. These springs are then enclosed in individual fabric pockets, which are arranged in interlocking pattern, glued together with special hot melt glue made from natural tree resin. Our foam mattresses are made from locally manufactured PU foam. We use the highest quality materials to ensure that flexible foam properties such as elongation, compression, and tear resistance are not compromised. This ensures your mattress lasts you a lifetime.
Traditionally, customers were not given an option of testing a mattress before purchase. Dr. Mattress opened sleep centers to provide accessibility and convenience for one to test a mattress before purchase. The opening of the showrooms enabled us to educate our clients on the importance of good sleep in relation to good health, and also to get customer feedback, which is a great tool to ensure a continuous improvement on our products.
This ensures your mattress lasts you a lifetime.
Traditionally, customers were not given an option of testing a mattress before purchase. Dr. Mattress opened sleep centers to
We always chose to work with the best global suppliers. This helped us a lot in investing into the right product and the right machinery. We used to import pocket springs and produce 200-300 mattresses in 1 month. Now, thanks to our investments, we are able to produce the same quantity in a single day.
In 4 years' time, we grew in manufacturing capacity, in financial capacity tenfold. In the numbers of showrooms, we grew 20-fold. We would like to cover the whole of East African community countries, as well as all the viable COMESA and Pan-African market.
With each new investment, we are trying to achieve better quality, more affordable products, and create new jobs for Kenyans in a single day.
In 4 years' time, When I founded Dr. Matters, I made the right investment. This enabled Dr. Matters to be vertically integrated. The whole of East African community countries, as well as all the viable COMESA and Pan-African market.
With each new investment, we are trying to achieve better quality.
This vertical integration enabled us to produce home furniture, which is in turn horizontally integration. Now we have DRM furniture by Dr. Matters, which has created more employment in our organization. More youth is employed.
I'm proud to be part of Dr. Matters, knowing we are manufacturing locally high quality mattresses that conform to international standards.
It goes without saying that Dr. Matters' mission is to provide better sleep. But the actual or bigger mission here is Kenyan youth. I saw the potential. I saw how talented they are. As a result, I have decided to set up Dr. Matters' manufacturing plant with 100% Kenyan youth. I did this in order to prove to them that all is possible and there is nothing they cannot achieve. Again, I repeat, my ultimate mission is to ensure that Kenyan youth realize their potential and use it, so that Kenya as a whole become competitive in the international platform. I will be very proud if, in my ways, I can achieve this. Set up Dr. Matters' manufacturing plant with 100% Kenyan youth. I did.
Hello, thank you so much for playing that. Good afternoon and welcome to plenary session 2, where we are going to talk about building synergies for promotion of science, technology, and innovation. And our panelists are going to help us answer the question on how we can leverage technology on enhancing sustainable development. I'm joined by my very expert crew members, that's how I'm calling them, who—
Hello, good afternoon.
And I'm going to start with, on my far right, we have Ms. Maureen Mbaka, who is the CAS ICT. Maureen is the Chief Administration Secretary, ICT, in Kenya, the entire country. Girl power there, right there. And she has a background in broadcasting and telecommunication from the Ministry of ICT and Innovation and the Youth Affairs. She's also an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and certified public accountant secretary of Kenya. Welcome, Maureen. On my second far right, we have Mr. Ednan Morden, whose video has played, the video to his company that has played a few minutes ago. He's been in Kenya for the last 35 years and is an alumni of Technical University of Kenya, which is previously known as Kenya Polytechnic. Mr. Ednan started his manufacturing plant to tap into the talent that is in Kenya to support the youth in employment. And he founded Dr. Matters, and he employs 100% of the Kenyan youth. Welcome. On my left, I have Mr. Mishiri Mungai, who is the Director, Youth in Business at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He also chairs the KNCCI Youth in Business Committee, whose sole mandate is to promote, protect, and develop commercial, industrial, and investment interest for the youth in business. So if you are a youth in business, you see the target to follow after the panel discussion. We also have, joining us virtually is Mr. Jose Akili, who we are going to give an opportunity to give his remarks. He's the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, County Pension Fund, Financial Services. Mr. Jose, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be in this panel and to address this particular session. I hope you can hear me well. Hello? Can you hear me well?
We can hear you, Mr. Ozer. Just.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So I'm very happy to be at this function, and I do remember receiving a visit by the team from the university in my office some time back, and the promise of this particular event taking place was very much planned, which I can now see has been realized. I want to congratulate the principal and his team for making it a success despite the challenges posed by COVID-19. The partnership between the university and the community in innovative thinking, of course, is something which we at CPF Financial Services, which is affiliated to our county governments, and in particular, we are actually here courtesy of our strong partnership with Kisii County Government. So we want to say that we are believers in innovation, which is driven from the technology point of view. And in particular, we applaud the efforts of our polytechnics and our technical universities and colleges for leading in the forefront on providing innovative solutions. So what we have done at CPF as part of encouraging and innovation is to develop an R&D division within our company, where we deploy ideas. We actually incubate solutions, and some of the solutions we have actually pushed all the way to fruition, and some of them are actually products already within our ecosystem. One of them we call M-Pension. M-Pension is a pension scheme arrangement which any member of the public can join on his phone or through an app which is found under Safaricom Super App. So when you join M-Pension through the app or through USSD code, you are able to then maneuver around the product and be able to, after registration, you are given a chance to make continuous payments at your pleasure every month or every week. And at the end of the day, you work with our pensions calculator and you're able to actually have a target for yourself as a person. At the end of the day, you are able to enjoy your pension. We allow also through the same M-Pension for members of the public who then become our customers can also bring on board their friends and family. And this is how we have grown that particular product, which was incubated within our institution. We have equally worked on other products, and because today is not our day, it's a day of the Polytechnic, Kisii National Polytechnic, I will not be talking about them. But that as it may be, we are great supporters of such innovations and ideas, and we would like to be part of whatever conversation is going to be going on in this particular activity which the university has, the Polytechnic has begun. So we believe in innovative ideas which lead into products. It can be agricultural products, it can be products which can be used in our textile industry, it can be products which can be used in creating simple machines which can be utilized by our people at the lowest level of the economy to generate employment. So we believe that can happen at the Polytechnic level. When we look at some of the illustrious countries which have gone that route of developing cottage industries, to the extent where we hear that some of the products which we now are consumers here in Africa are actually manufactured at the household level, in a garage or in a small cottage industry. Of course, we have to applaud the giants who have made that leap in many countries like China, India, and so forth. So we want to also speak spearhead this particular initiative so that we do have in our country incubation centers in our polytechnics, in our vocational centers, where our young people would find themselves capable of actually coming up with innovative products, very simple products to roll out and put into the market and help to actually create employment. Because without that, I would like to say the future of our country can be actually dim, because our population growth will outstrip our capacity to actually support itself. So we really need a lot of creativity. And I want to say, as a keynote speaker, which have been given this opportunity, that I'm very particularly touched and that we have been invited to participate in this particular session. We will contribute to that. We will be able to support in any way, in kind or in any financial way, to make sure that we have a successful event. If it will be annual, then definitely we will also try to participate annually. So with those remarks, I want to say thank you, Madam, for giving me this first opportunity, and let the event really roll. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hosea, for sharing your remarks and obviously for mentioning the key components that drive technology, which is research and development, as well as having frameworks like incubation centers. So quickly getting into the session without wasting any time, we are talking about R&D, we are talking about incubation centers, and these are things that come about with a lot of ecosystem strengthening, as well as making sure that there's collaboration and there's synergies in all aspects. But then there's a perceived notion that there's a disconnect between industry, for example, and the laws that the government is having in place to sustain that pipeline from institutions to industry, and as well as just maintaining that strong ecosystem where we have students coming out of institutions and making sure that not only getting jobs, but also creating job opportunities. So my quick question to my panelists, and I'll start with Ms. Maureen, because you sit at the government side of things. Why is this disconnect so pervasive? And is there a way we can make sure that the collaboration is strengthened between industry as well as just the Tibet institutions?
All right, thank you so much for that question. And let me just say that I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to join you today at the Kisii National Polytechnic. I'd like to thank the principal and the organizers for organizing this great gathering of different stakeholders in this area. And also I'd like to congratulate the organizers and the principal on recognizing the role of technology, the role of ICTs when it comes to sustainable development. Maybe I can now move on to your question, which was mainly on a perceived disconnect. Well, first, let me just start by saying that I completely disagree that there's no such thing. Let's just start with this conference itself. We have the industry here, we have the government, we have the youth, the players in the industry. Everyone is coming here together just to come up with best practices or even better ways to collaborate so that we can have sustainable development. So I would say that other than that, I think what we need to look at is the different roles that the different stakeholders play. And I think that is what is happening from the government end. I would say when it comes to indeed ICTs and the role they play in sustainable development, the government has well recognized the role that ICT plays in development. And this comes especially starting from our developmental blueprint, which is the Vision 2030. ICT is a key enabler to all the other pillars in the Vision 2030. And breaking it down to the priority development areas, which is the Big Four agenda, as set out by His Excellency the President, the Honorable Uhuru. We have recognized the role that ICTs will play and are looking to harness the efficiencies that ICT comes with when it comes to developing these 4 areas. And the government plays its role again by creating an enabling environment for uptake of these ICTs. So we do have policy in place, we have legislation in place, we also have institutes in place to just make sure that as a citizenry, we can harness and leverage the efficiencies that come with ICTs. And perhaps during the panel, I'll have a chance to talk more about these. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Maureen. Ednan, Maureen has mentioned about the role that the inroads that the government has created on ensuring that the industry doesn't lack in terms of, benefiting from institutions like Tibet, for example. Do you feel like there's a disconnect because it ends up being an issue of industry training their staff internally instead of sourcing from Tibet? Why is that gap there? And yet government is saying that they've already laid the frameworks to ensure that that is not the case.
I am very glad to be here, and I must congratulate Kisii Polytechnic. What I see, I am very happy. The necessary investments are being done, and I agree with Ms. Maureen. I think government is doing the right things. If we talk about disconnection, I think disconnection was there. And I think the connection is started. I think we are in a transition, I can say. I used to apply, if we go from technology, ICT, online businesses, I used to apply for my driving license and on physical thing. Now I am able to do it online. We get all our permits online, even on county levels. I think the information technology is being used. I think I will say the disconnection is on the implementation. When you throw a stone into water, there's ripples. So the government still has a lot to do. I'm not saying everything is done. Yeah, but Kenya I used to say Kenya is a young country, but I will say Kenya is still a toddler, 1963. And from my own perception, I stand to be corrected, but Kenya is doing very well when you compare to other countries out there who has been governing themselves for hundreds of years. So my point is, when I look at the polytechnics, I am myself a graduate of Polytechnic from, I always call it Kenya Polytechnic. Now there's a new name, it's a university, I must congratulate. I had very beautiful education. I have learned a lot, and most of the things I'm applying today in my business is the things that I learned, commercial law, I learned here, economics, most of the things I learned, then I combined with my learning in my mother country. Then I end up having Dr. Matres, founded Dr. Matres. So where I come to disconnection is, I think it's happening when a graduate gets out of Polytechnic. They are sort of, we have a saying where I come from, they are like fish out of water. I don't think they are given the necessary training on soft skills other than the application of technical skills. I believe they should be given soft skills. In those soft skills, they should know how to approach to the institution. I will also challenge polytechnics. In my own experience, I have not been contacted in my own company. I don't have polytechnic graduates. And the disconnection, I can say also in the part of training, the training is more theoretical. I stand to be corrected, because the few that I came across with students, on the practical, they fail. So I believe things have started well. I believe the government is doing what is necessary. Now, what I see in Polytechnic here, I believe the necessary work started here again. So I agreed to come to this panel on the basis that
we have to we have to have the connection with the industry and polytechnics. Yeah, and the students have to be trained not to second guess Kenya, the potential in Kenya, Kenyans, so they have to have the soft skill to invest into the latest technology.
I will hold your thought there because I'm coming back to that question later on. I want to turn my focus to Mushiri, who is, besides being an entrepreneur, Mushiri, you also advocate a lot for the youth in business and just generally making sure that you protect their interests when they have ideas. As an entrepreneur who's been in business for a while, and also just being the person who is advocating for the youth, do you feel like the youth are being protected as they should in the country and as they move out of these schools? What is your view as an entrepreneur who is seated on the other side, as well as being the champion for the youth?
Okay, thank you very much, Sylvia, for that question. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate, as my colleagues have said, the Kisii Polytechnic. You have done an excellent job. This is a first that you have seen, and I really encourage other institutions, especially at the TTI level, polytechnics, national, and the county, and even at the ward level, to just emulate what the Kisii Tibet has done. Maybe let's give them a clap. Are we awake? Not if you're awake. Are we asleep? Not if you're asleep. Clearly, everyone is awake. So first and foremost, I would want to really congratulate what Kisii has done. And us as a Chamber of Commerce, we have really embraced this move and have seen the potential that this country can achieve in terms of working with young people, taking up technical studies at their infancy, and then driving that skill into revenue for themselves, creating businesses, and getting to the level of our chamber president and even Dr. Mattress that is here. To answer your question, do I think that the youth are adequately protected? I believe all the institutions are doing the best that they can. As our CAS, our Honorable CAS has mentioned, the government has put in place a lot of policy. We just passed the youth policy. We just enshrined a lot of policy. Actually, in the last 3 years, we've done a lot of policy work. So the government is doing its work. The government has invested a lot of money in terms of the infrastructure that is required. There's at least a youth polytechnic in every single county today, which was not the case. When Adnan was studying, the only place that you could go to was probably the Kenya Polytechnic at that time. Today, right in Kisii here, the county, we have a place where you can actually get skills. So the government is doing its part. Is the private sector doing its part? Of course, the private sector is profit driven. It is driving profit. We've just seen a video here of a highly commendable organization that has started less than 20 years and have reached the heights that have not been seen in this country before. Just having a conversation with them earlier, they're even now going and taking advantage of policies that have been put across the world, just taking advantage of AGOA, the AGOA policy, where the US is opening up markets there. So we have seen private sector doing its part. What I feel maybe is lacking is just that communication in between, which is where the chamber is coming in and doing its role today, where players from the private sector engage with the government on a frequent basis, on a daily basis. At the chamber, I'll just give you a history of the chamber in a bit. That communication is what needs to be going on. Just to give you a bit of history about the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce is a very old institution. It started in the 1800s in Marseille, France, just next to Turkey. Over the years, because of organizations and companies moving to different parts of the world, companies did business differently. So there needed to be some framework on how private sector can operate. So that is how the Chamber of Commerce came about. When you fast forward to today, we have the International Chamber of Commerce, the ICC, that helps to resolve disputes that have come across in the world. And Kenya, being a member of the World Chamber, the Federation of Chambers of Commerce, is sitting among the 177 countries that have chambers of commerce in the world. In the globe, we have at least 202, 203 countries, depending on which part of the world you are from. We just welcomed South Sudan into the UN, the other countries coming along. So Kenya sits among the 177 countries. So as a Chamber of Commerce, here in Kenya, we began in 1965 and have devolved our operations to every single county. So the Chamber of Commerce is now instrumental, bringing the private sector to speak with the public sector, as well as the young people who are coming out of institutions like this. So I believe with continuous engagement, more will be done. Just to give a bit of highlight, in terms of young people, the Chamber of Commerce is now resident in the public institutions like the TTIs here, in the universities, and other places where young people are. So the young people now have a voice to be able to listen to what industry is saying and to be able to now engage with people like Adnan, who are industry players, and listen and see what does industry want. The Chamber of Commerce is also very instrumental within the government institutions to then ensure that players like Dr. Mattress have some of the operators come into the TTIs and give some public lectures. So those are some of the things that need to improve so that then the quality of education that is coming out is felt, that responds to industry. Two, that the players who have actual hands-on experience in industry are able to give some of that experience back. So then from there, then we have the dual system of education where whatever you're learning, you're able to take back into industry. So those are some of the missing links, but as our CAS said, continuous engagement is helping us to then ensure that some of those disconnects are reduced.
Thank you so much. Clearly, the main theme that is coming out of this is the breakdown of communication and implementation not done well. Honorable Maureen, do you think Tibet institutions need handholding to make sure that they're actually training students to the levels that are needed in the industry? What should we do, for example, to make sure that, like during pandemics like COVID-19, for example, we have innovations that are coming off of institutions immediately? We need interventions for that.
Thank you for that question. You asked whether the polytechnics need handholding. I think the polytechnics are doing very well. As you can see here, I'm very impressed by bringing together of actually various, just Kisii Polytechnic here to showcase, what they're doing at their school. But really, I think I'll go to what Mr. Adnan said on the bridging of the skill gap. Definitely, I think what is coming out from the panel as well is the need to work together, the need to have partnership, which is what we are seeing here today by having this conference, so that the industry can communicate to the youth that are coming out what exactly is needed on that side. That's the supply and demand side. So there's the supply side where we have the young workers, and the demand side where we have the work. So we need that the communication so that we can bridge that gap and have, like a running, rather sustainable work ecosystem where you have the demand of what the skills that are needed in the industry and the students actually learning what is needed in the industry. So there needs to be communication so that there's no disconnect. I believe so. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Mr. Adnan, you mentioned about the students coming out off of institutions like Tibet being more of focused on theoretical than practical, and that's how you end up as a company training them internally, meaning you use your resources to make sure that they are at par according to the standards you need them to meet. So, according to your view on how you look at this, what would you charge the institutions, the heads of institutions here, Tibet institutions, what would you charge them to do? And if you were to have an intervention with them, what would be the possible way to collaborate to get to that level?
Thank you. I will talk about my industry. We are in furniture. And when I talk to they're my students also at work. I look at them as students and I approach to them like a teacher. So I tell them importing furniture into this country is a crime. Why I say it's a crime? When I drive around or when I walk around, when I see, if we call Juakali, when I see Juakali sector, I see talent, amazing talent. And I don't know how this will be taken, but Kenyans are not aware how talented they are. So my argument or my humble request to the principals would be is to change, not to change, to implement polytechnics to become manufacturing powerhouse. Polytechnics should produce, and aligned with that production, the student there will learn all the practical techniques. Of course, the theory is already there. Theory, Kenya in schools is doing very well. But the practical part, if polytechnics turn into a manufacturing powerhouse, the sustainability will come in as well. And during that manufacturing process, the entrepreneurship will come in. The software to put into the student's mind will be programmed. The student will choose what software. In that software, they will choose the program, whether they want to be whether they want to be entrepreneur, they want engineer, and they will make that, they will be able to make that decision. I will argue as well to give them soft skills. I don't know how to say this, to give them courage, to give them, to be able to stand for what they believe, what they can do. This is the self-confidence is 90% of the success comes with self-confidence, because if you don't have self-confidence, you will not take that step. So if we turn polytechnics into manufacturing houses, again, I talk for my industry, when we have these very talented people out there, they haven't even gone to any training and they're able to do those furnitures out there, Kenya can become a furniture powerhouse for the rest of the world. And we have the youth. If I stand to be corrected, I think 70% of our population here is below 30 years old or somewhere there. Yeah. So the thing last I want to say is that they need to be tools. That I say this, I'm repeating because this is what I see with the young ones when they come to me, is that this is how we do it. No. Kenya, Kenyans deserve the best, and the young ones should be taught that they should only aim for the best, meaning technology should be latest technology, not that if Europe is doing, I will say from my industry, we have machinery, we produce springs, and the machinery we have are 2020 model. They are not 1960 model. If we teach our children, our students, that they have to aim the latest technology, then out there in the platform, international platform, they will fare very well.
Thank you. And bringing your remarks to, back to the focus of the topic of today, we're talking about sustainability and how we can leverage technology to attain that. Mishiri, I know there are students in here. I'm sure they probably have ideas that they're developing at the moment. And when we talk about ideas, there's potential for, I know ideas are just literal, it's ideas, but at the same time, you get to a point where someone develops a concept to the level where it requires IP protection or something close to that. Is there something you could tell the students on how to protect the ideas, for example, if there are R&D stages or something like that, or what is the, how can they access that as the director for the Kenya National Chamber of Association?
Thank you, Sylvia. First and foremost, for me, what I'd say, I'd like to look at this both at a macro level and at a micro level. At a micro level, you've talked about R&D, you've talked about product development. So as students, I would want to really focus on the young people for today, and the ones who are here within the Kisii Polytechnic, as well as other students who are going through their educational journey across the country. My advice to you today is cheza kama wewe. As you can see, you have Adnan here. He actually went to a polytechnic. He has just given you his story. In less than 20 years, actually less than 10 years, he has converted his idea, stuff that he studied in Kenya Poly right here, and he has converted his business into a multinational business. What do I mean by multinational? It is not only in Kenya. They're supplying into Tanzania, into Rwanda, into Tanzania, and now you're even moving into the US, into the UK. Cheza kama wewe. Your story is your story. Believe in your story. As he said, he called it believing in yourself. Kujiamini in Kenyan terms. You asked about research. I want to just speak to the young person today. You need to develop kujiamini. Do your research. As you're doing your research, consult. Here at the Chamber of Commerce, as I mentioned, we are the link between industry and academia. As you're studying here at the Kisii Polytechnic, approach your youth in business director in Kisii. We have a youth in business director in every single county, and they will help you, they'll hold your hand, they'll connect you to your mentors. Within all the institutions that we are in today, we are establishing incubation hubs. In the incubation hub, they will take you step by step. From when you have an idea, how do you conceptualize it? You asked about protecting your idea. Before you even start protecting your idea, you have to develop what you're calling an MVP, a minimum viable product that you can then be able to take to the next step. Before you go there, you have to then, we have institutions that we work very, very closely with at the chamber, including KIPI, that will help you to protect your idea and put a legal mesh around your idea so that then some of your stuff is not copied by other people, and people don't then, as Adnan had said, second guess you and take your ideas. But as you do that, think about your brand. As you do, as you're trying to copyright, you have to create a brand, an indelible mark on the product that you're producing, so that then whenever you take it to a different part of the country, you take it to a different part of the world, then it cannot be replicated. Come to the chamber, we'll help you along your journey from MVP to launching your product. Just to give you a bit of statistics, as we look at flows of money across the world, we've seen a lot of money go into different parts of Africa, Africa being the last frontier. We've seen about $3.6 billion go into countries like Rwanda. We've seen about 3.4 going into countries like Ghana. That is in foreign direct investment. We've seen about $3 billion going to Ethiopia. In Kenya, we've only seen a paltry $600 million. It means we have a lot, a nascent potential, yet we're not packaging our product properly. As Adnan said, kujiamini is a big element. Nigeria are receiving lots and lots of capital flow, and it's really kujiamini. You've seen them in the movies. Those guys, they believe in themselves. So that's something that we need to develop. And at the Chamber of Commerce, something that we have actually taken into cognizance and we're working on. In other quarters, it is called self-efficacy. to believe in yourself, and you can actually be able to do it. I talked about a macro level, at a micro level. At a macro level, the country is at 10 trillion in terms of our economy. Adnan, your industry so far, how much have you invested in the business? $6 million. That is somebody who believed in themselves and is actually contributing to the economy of this country. I want to speak to you, young man, you young lady who's sitting there as you're watching this. $6 million, the initial investment was not $6 million. $6 million came from our customers. We reinvested. So as you can hear, this is a real life story of somebody who believed in their product, went to school, studied, and has taken their product, and today they've gotten $6 million out of that. When you talk about a GDP, when you're talking about sustainable development, we need to get our economy to 10% economic growth on an everyday basis for our country to be able to grow. When you talk about GDP, what does it mean? GDP is nothing else than what Sylvia, what you do every day, whatever you do to produce, what Adnan is doing, what Heshimiwa is doing, all of us, each and every one of us, everyone who's sitting here, there's something that you're producing on a daily basis. When you put all of that together, that is what we call our GDP. It has to grow at 10% every year for us to have a sustainable development, which means as a country is growing, Adnan is able to sell product. Heshimiwa is able to continue producing through the ICT she's doing. In my construction, in the medical field, all of us are able to continue growing. That is what sustainable development is all about. You have to grow at 10%. Today we're at 10 trillion. Actually, when you include the SME, when you revalue, our economy is at about 12 trillion. Let us go back to the figures. Sorry to take you into a bit of detail. So far, as a country, we have about 90% penetration in terms of ICT. About 50% of anybody in the country can be able to access services on the internet. So in terms of ICT is well positioned. In manufacturing, like Adnan is doing, just to give you a bit of figures, in a country, for us to be able to achieve that level of development that I'm talking about, 10%, we need to be at least at 15% of our GDP being from manufacturing. As a country, we are less than probably about 5%. We still need to do some more. Of course, with the help of the government, the help of the private sector, we can get there. In terms of research, you talked about research. We are, for a country that is more developed, we need about 1.5% of the population being in research. As a country, we are doing much less. But congratulations to the Polytechnic of Kisii Polytechnic. A lot of research is being done. A lot of work is going into research and development. And these are the kind of things that we need to be able to grow our economy. So to answer your question, yes, we can get there, but we need much more efficacy. Watu wajiamini na watu wacheze kama wow.
Thank you so much, Mushiri. So it's about believing in yourself and pushing through for the students in the room. I'm going to invite the audience for one question. We have almost 10 minutes to the hour of our discussion. If you have any questions to our panelists, otherwise I'll just move on. Okay. So we've listened to our expert panelists and everything that is coming out in terms of the need for collaboration, the need for communication to become mainstream in making sure that the stakeholders know what their mandates are and they actually execute that to the best of their ability and to the standards of the world. As Mushiri said, Giamini and do the quality work. And also, as Ednan said, really it's a shame that we can't produce the Kenyan talent that we used to produce back then, as CS Magawa mentioned. And also, as Honorable Maureen said, the government has already put in place the frameworks that are needed to ensure that we actually achieve sustainable development with through all the avenues that are there. I guess for my panelists, I will ask you to just, where do we go from here? I mean, we talk, we come to events, we talk, and then execution just starts at a very high speed and then dies down. How do we keep the momentum going and making sure that people just don't falter through the process? I guess anyone can start. And
all right, thank you for that. I think I'll start because I also want to just on what has been said by the Chamber of Commerce on innovation and having incubation hubs, which I think is a very good step. And on that as well, we do have a government program in recognition of the fact that we do have very talented youth in the country who are very innovative. We do have a program known as Huduma White Box, which is actually a platform which young people can access, young people who have innovations, and they get to upload their innovations and get assistance from the government side, where we have experts who can be able to, hold your hand, take you through how to upscale your innovation, connect you to those who are in the industry. So this, I think, is one program that young people need to know about. I'm sure they have very many questions such as on IP, how to protect their innovations. And this is what this program is all about, protecting your innovations, scaling it up, getting it to market. So it's called Huduma White Box, and it's available on its website. That's whitebox.go.ke. On to your question on how to really move things forward when it comes to these partnerships, it's really to, first of all, keep the conversation alive. So, as I liked that Chamber of Commerce actually has they've set themselves up in schools. So that's one of the ways, to have that direct contact with the other players now that, they're in the industry and they're connected with young people in their schools. So these are some of the ways that we can keep the conversation alive so that we can move forward when it comes to, how do we push forward our innovations? How do we, have this skill gap bridged? How do we, create synergies really when it comes to having all stakeholders work together? And of course, from the government side, we are open to, listening to the industry. We do have partnerships with private sector on various programs, just so that they can translate even on the ground, even in the industries. So really keeping the conversation alive, pushing it forward, actually having the partnerships. I think those are the ways that we can have, this sustainable ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
On my side, I will add, I want to address the principles here for polytechnics. I think we have to look at the curriculum, and we have to look at the connection of the curriculum and being relevant. How can we connect the curriculum to being relevant, and how we can not only create employees, how can we make some of those students to become entrepreneurs and they become employers. I think that is how we can close the gap of unemployment. The government has to push for quality. Kenya Bureau of Standard, I can watch from here, doing a great job now. They are always checking our quality. They are every day we have a contact with them. We see a huge progress with them, and the government should look also to how to finance these graduates. There should be programs. Once the graduate comes out, if they have a good innovation, as Mweshima said, as Chamber of Commerce said, there should be programs of financially supporting them. The mindset in the schools, this, I don't know whether it can be the mindset of the student, this mindset of the young person. Unfortunately, I'm detecting something really negative. Young generation, they want to become rich from yesterday. One panelist gave examples of Steve Jobs and this and that. These are very great examples, but somehow I believe, even if it is in a small percentage, they're affecting our children in a negative way. They like to choose the easy way to become rich from yesterday. So mindset, to change the mindset, the curriculum or the schools themselves or the board of members in the schools can introduce soft skills to change the mindset. I see among my employees, again, I say, I call them my students, they cover up for each other. They used to cover up for each other. Now, in our journey, I can say for the last 4 years, we have succeeded. They have become each other's Kenya Bureau of Standard. They check each other's standard, and they realized that they were taught that they are the ones who employ, not the organization anymore. Their good job, their good effort, their skills are the ones which create the job opportunity to the next person. So I believe the schools can do a huge impact on the soft skills, on the mindset of the youngsters, giving them those confidences, giving them that courage, that trust, as well as trying to teach them. It's a very simple thing. It looks like very simple, but this thing of what do you call when you report the next person? There's a word for it. There's snitch. They used to term it as snitching, and yet they have learned if they report, the person is corrected in a proper manner. That person does not lose his job or her job. In fact, on the contrary, now they believed that if they report very quickly, they save their colleagues' job. So this kind of education in school is I believe, is very important. I'm not saying it's not being done. Please don't take me wrong. It's just my humble suggestion that other than teaching how to use a lathe machine or how to use a drill or computer, I think the human skills, the soft skills should be taught in schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bashir, how do we go? Where do we go from here?
Okay, thank you very much, Sylvia, for that question. I think for me, when I assess from where I sit at the Chamber of Commerce, I think the future is only brighter. Where we have reached as a country, we have reached a point of boiling point, and now we are, we are, as the CES was talking about earlier, you can even sniff 2030. You can smell it around the corner. So it is us really to apply the GOAT, the greatest of all time. We have been set for the example by people like Kipchoge, and it's for us in our individual race. And I want to speak to the young people. Just apply the greatest of all time in your own setting. Just apply that boost. Believe in yourself, self-efficacy. Believe in yourself. Everybody is doing their part. Everybody is trying as hard as they can. You've had the CAS, who's a very young CAS. At her level, she has risen to where she is, and she has applied herself. Adnan here applied himself, and he believed in his product. Today, he's taking it global. He's taking it multinational. Everybody is doing their role. So us, as the next step, come to the Chamber of Commerce. We are in every single county in this country. We are moving into the Tibets. We are moving into the universities. We are where you are. We're not too far from you. Nyinyi ni watu wa mtandao. Go online, find us. #NajiEmpower. #NajiEmpower. Find us. Come to the chamber. We will help you along your journey. If you're in innovation, if you're in manufacturing, if you're in energy, we're in all the 24 sectors. Come, find us. We will help you along your way. We also have big members. We have Safaricom as part of our members. We have BAT. We have the top corporates in this country. However, we do have the mamambogas. We do have the border riders. We have everybody. We have space for everyone, and we're looking for you. Come, build yourself, Giamini, and take your journey. We'll connect you with the people that you need to have in your journey. Mentors, if you're at the stage of building an MVP, a minimum viable product, we'll help you. We'll connect you with mentors like Adnan. He's as you heard, he's a passionate believer of young people. His company has just told us, actually, majority of them are young people. These are the people who are going to help you along your way. Come to the Chamber of Commerce and we'll help you find a route to connecting with them. We'll help you connect to people like the CAS through roundtables, through conversations that will build up into ensuring that your future is secured for you. That, for us as a Chamber of Commerce, is what we believe, and we are here to help you ensure that your business gets to the next level.
Thank you so much. We've gotten to the hour. Thank you so much to our panelists, and thank you to the audience for.
I would like to add something.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Thank you again. I just forgot. I just want to extend invitation to the whole principals of Polytechnics. We would like to partner with you, as my panelists said. I will be able to pass my contacts, or you can get my contacts from the panel. My head of operation, Madam Beatrice, is sitting there. You can talk to her after this. I believe there will be, I think this is one of the communication disconnect we are talking about. And I am a practical guy. I would like to start immediately practically that what we are discussing here can be put in practice, exercise, that we need to come together. I believe there are lots of things that we can learn from you. You are my teachers. So I'm extending my invitation to you. My panelists said that I work with young people. We have about 380, and our average is below 25. And we have very young people who have learned and trained at our place. Some of them are secondary school dropouts. Some of them are standard or primary school dropouts. So I will also request the government and the polytechnics whether there could be some programs for them to come in and what they learned, what they know could be certified if they can get certifications. We have seen this when, as a company, we give them certificates, they change, their work change. You cannot believe. So I would like to discuss these opportunities with the head of principals and technological side. We, as I said, we have lots of things that we can learn from each other. Thank you. Thank you for giving the opportunity. Yeah.
No, thank you so much, Edna. Okay, Mushiri. Yes.
Oh, thank you. I think I was spurred by some guy talking about, let me speak to the young people. I think I should do so as well. Being a young person myself, I am youth. I am below the age of 35, as correctly stated. And as a young person, I'm speaking to my fellow youth is on the various government programs that have been tailored specifically for young people. I would like to encourage you to take advantage of those programs, which are completely free and they're available online. So I've spoken about the Huduma White Box, which is accessible on whitebox.go.ke. And there's also the Ajira digital program, which is all about training young people on digital skills. And this is completely free, and the classes are offered via Zoom, so you can take the classes anywhere you are. So as a young person, to fellow young people, please take advantage of these programs. They are for your benefit. They are to prepare you for the changing nature of work, the future of work, which requires digital skills. And I think that's what I would want to tell you. And as a young person, I've had very great advice from the panel. So thank you so much to the panelists. And also from myself, as a young person, remember to participate in your own rescue. And take the extra step, as we've had. Yes, we have all these programs and they're available to you, and I've told you about them too. But it will be upon you to actually now go and access the program, go through the program, get your certificate, and even perhaps start working online and earning something for yourself. So do take advantage of all the programs that I've mentioned here today. And thank you very much for having me. Asante sana.
Okay, thank you very much, panelists and our moderator. I would like to also just reach out to the principals. I can see we have a lot of principals in the room. If principals, maybe you can say, who? Hi. Ajakula lunch. Principals, who? Well done. So I would like to also reach out to the principals. We have a great program to help you connect with the industry. We will help you build your institution to become a business institution that connects with industry, that helps you connect and ensure that what it is that you're teaching, be it through the pedagogy, through your ODEL, through your content, we can be able to help you to connect with industry. So please reach out to us, #NajiEmpower. For those who don't know, just reach out to your young son or your grandson. They will be able to help you with some of these #NajiEmpower. Also, you can go to kenyachamber.org. You will find us there and reach out to us. We'll be able to help you connect with industry captains and industry players. And we'll also be able to help you connect with our very young, very able CAS, as well as her team, and ensure that you are the person who arrives at Vision 2030 empowered. #NajiEmpower.
Clearly, my panelists are very ready to help where they can. And I think I should let them speak now, and so that I can keep quiet. Ednan.
I have a message to the students. I believe some students are listening to us. You are young and you are starting life. And in that, the attitude is the key. What kind of attitude you have is very important. So I will give you an example. I have my head of operation here. She is in charge of almost 400 people. And of course, being a lady, I don't want to disclose her age, but she is in her very, very early 30s, which I disclosed. And she's been with me for 7 years. You can guess that the age she started. And the attitude she had is that I want to learn. I want to succeed. I want to do it for my country. I want to do it for my family. I want to do it for the youngsters coming after me. And I have several examples like that. And she knows how to produce. She's CPAK and she's an accountant, but she has learned how to produce mattresses. She has learned skills that she can go to any country and set a factory from zero. Right machinery, right raw material, she knows them all. I will give you one example, students, young ones, please listen. I had 2 years ago, I had an attachment student coming to me. He is a food engineer. He did an attachment because he could not get attachment in food industry. So he did attachment in our factory. 6 months ago, he came back and he said, now I need my attachment to finish my school and I cannot get attachment. Sir, please allow me to do attachment here. So I pushed him and I said, his name is Martin. I said, Martin, what is it in for Dr. Matres? You come here to do attachment. And when you are doing your attachment, what will you give back to Dr. Matres? And he thought a little bit and he said, sir, I have skills in technical drawings. I said, oh, is that what they teach you in food engineering? He said, no, sir, this one is out of my own interest. It is self-taught. So listen, students, listen, young ones. This is a young person who is doing one course, but out of interest, he has self-taught himself technical drawing. And believe me, billion-plus shilling company we did not have a technical drawing department. We were outsourcing it. So I have told him, fine, do your attachment, but I would like you to give me a
a project within 2 weeks whether you can set this department. I went ahead and ordered machinery, CNC machinery, to come in so that if he sets the technical department, we are as par. And he set it. You cannot believe he is one of the most important person in our company, and he is only 24 years old. I don't want to mention how much he's earning.
Thank you so much, Edmund. And I think the students have had your call to action. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to the audience. And of course, again, we have Honorable Maureen Mbaka, who is the CS ICT. We have Mushiri Mungai, who is the Director, Youth in Business in the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And we have Mr. Ednan, who is the founder of the Dr. Mattress. And I am Sylvia Macario, your moderator for the day, and I'm the co-founder of Hept Analytics. My background is in engineering. Thank you once again, and good afternoon.
The next speaker will be online. Kindly stay on course. I will invite the principal to invite Dr. Zinat Sulaiman. She will be addressing us online.
Good evening, everyone. We are coming to the last activity of the day. We are still looking at our theme of the conference, establishing a unified foundation for sustainable development. The last activity, we have a keynote speaker, and our guest is Dr. Zinat Sulaiman Khan. She is the Regional Chief Director, Chief Executive Officer, Aga Khan Health Services, East Africa. She also holds the position of Global Head of Quality, Clinical Programs and Projects for the Aga Khan Health Services. Dr. Khan is also a consultant with the Joint Commission International. Dr. Khan holds a doctorate degree from Johns Hopkins University, Masters in Health Care from the University of Minnesota. She has about 30 years of healthcare experience with expertise in hospital and nursing administration, quality improvement, and patient safety. She has an extensive leadership experience working in the university, teaching in hospitals, as well as in an academic hospital environment. I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Zinat Sulaiman Khan to give her keynote address. But before she starts, it is important for the audience to note that we are already in a memorandum with the Aga Khan, whereby we are taking the catering services in the Kisii branch. And they are requesting also the Aga Khan to partner with us, since we are developing a curriculum for cardiac technologists. They have sent out questionnaires to various towns within the region so that we can be able to start off preparing the curriculum. So, Doctor, as you give us the keynote address, remember, Kisii National Polytechnic is also willing to partner further in developing this curriculum for cardiac technologists. Most welcome, and take the floor.
Thank you so very much. Just a quick check. Can you hear me? And if somebody could let me know. And also, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see you.
Great. Thank you so very much. Let me start by congratulating the Kenyans sitting around virtually and physically for the wonderful, amazing job the Kenyans have done in the 2020 Olympics. And I thought that considering the fact that I got the opportunity to meet one of the Kenyans' hero when he was returning, Mr. Kipchoge, when he was returning from his Japan gold medal trip, that I would share this happy occasion with you all as well. With that, I will just move to my presentation and would like to start. Okay, so let me start by thanking the organizers of this amazing, innovative conference today, the Kisii National Polytechnic Virtual International Conference. And I see that there are many valuable partners who came together to plan and to execute this very well thought through conference. So congratulations from my side to the organizers. I would also like to thank them for inviting me to represent Aga Khan Development Network, Aga Khan Health Services for today's presentation as a keynote speaker. All the dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I would like good evening, and I would like to start my presentation today, keeping in mind this amazing topic for today's conference, which is to really talk about establishing a unified foundation for sustainable development. As we all know that sustainable development, and I was hearing from the previous speakers and the panelists about the sustainable development in economy, getting young people involved, universities involved, and so on and so forth. Health plays an extremely important part in sustainable development. And as many of you know, that WHO Sustainable Development Goals, which includes healthcare indicators, which has been signed by majority of the countries in the world, including Kenya, plays a very important role. Health is one of the most important arm of a sustainable goal, which if a person is healthy, both mentally and physically, he or she has the capacity to grow mentally, intellectually, get more education, continue to be innovative, creative, and physically in order for them to be productive. So health is an important arm where we need to think about how do we bring ourselves together? How do we get united to get that foundation for a sustainable development? With this, I would like to quickly, I am sure a lot of you know Aga Khan Development Network, but I would like to inform you about the Aga Khan Development Network. Who are we? As an organization, we are extremely proud of Aga Khan Development Network, which really has three key arms: the economic arm, the social arm, and the cultural arm. And let's think about it, that how beautifully the AKDN has brought the sustainable development together. If the economy is strong, if social developments are strong, and the culture is there, it is a healthy society. And I think that is the merit of Aga Khan Development Network. I will not go into a lot of economic development, which of course is tourism, financial, media, aviation, and industrial promotion services, which is an extremely important arm from AKDN in Kenya, including Kisii. You see Diamond Trust Banks, you see Nation Media, you see PAP Tanks and others, and of course, the Serena hotels around comes under that. I will put some emphasis on the social development and where especially the health related, which is the Aga Khan University, Aga Khan Health Services, where really we are working with the Kenyans and all of us together to develop, to have a sustainable development. His Highness said, once we accept the challenge, there will be no turning back. For one thing certain today is that best practices continue to evolve at a rapid pace in every discipline, education being no exception. A world-class standard is therefore by definition a constantly evolving standard. I quote it here because all the audience sitting around this table is very much aware of this, that whether we are in education, whether we are in health, or we are in economical development, we know that we have to keep pace with what is happening. We need to continue to be lifelong learners. We need to continue with our education, whether it's formal education or informal education. We need to raise the bar of our standards. The previous speaker spoke about not just the degrees, but he spoke about EI, which is emotional intelligence. We need to get together to ensure that our young people are getting diplomas and degrees, and with that they are getting savvy with what is happening in their own fields, in their practical life, but also gain emotional intelligence to really be sustaining their position and grow. So how does it relate to Aga Khan? How does it relate to all of us? Some of the things Aga Khan Development Network is doing in terms of health is really to look at population health. The access part of it, we look at service delivery, education and research, and then we need to work cross-cutting by different agencies with different agencies. So in the population health, we focus, our strength is focusing in the maternal and child. We go down to the communities. How do we develop capacity building and mobilize our community health workers and community health? Service delivery, you all have seen Kisii Medical Center. There are many other hospitals which we run, not in East Africa, but around the world. And not just work and run them, we ensure that our quality is at a standard where then we work towards some accreditation. Education program within our university and with partnership with many others, including we heard from the honorable host who introduced me to work with other institutions, teaching institution, to work and expand our horizon. Last but not the least, health cannot be secluded. Health has to work hand in hand with health financing, with e-health, with IT, governance system. The government, public sector plays such an important role to our practice, our success, and of course, many other agencies which we work with. Currently, our profile, we are present in many countries, as you can see. East Africa has a very strong presence today for us, and Kenya definitely take the cake with a lot of institutions of AKDN in Kenya from all three arms: the economic arm, the social development arm, and the cultural arm. I would like to focus on some of the innovative strategies we have put in place for health. And I would like to take that later and discuss that in terms of how do we ensure sustainable development. Whatever we do, we focus on quality. Our medical schools, our nursing schools, our hospitals, our clinics, our community outreach programs, we need to ensure that quality remains on the forefront of our initiatives. We need to shift, and that's what we try and always work on. Let's look at proactive approach of dealing with the problem today and looking at it tomorrow. What are the aspects which potentially could lead to hiccups and failures to us? How do we work towards that? We need to lead the region through research. I cannot emphasize the importance of evidence-based practice and generating research which is relevant to us. We have American research and absolutely superb Western research, but we need to have our research in East Africa, in Kenya, because we are different. While we are same, we also have our differences. So we need to generate research, expand the availability of physicians and clinicians, I should say, in relevant region, innovation, not just of the delivery, but financing, access. How do we get to bigger communities? And of course, play a catalyst for change about that. So I would take you here to some of these things of the innovative integrated, and this is where I will bring you back to Western Kenya in a minute as to what are we trying to do. We have our big hospitals in Kisumu here in Western Kenya. We have Nairobi, etc. So what are we doing with us here in Western Kenya? We have, and we are so excited to be present in Kisii today as a medical center. And then we have so many outreach centers, which are really in other Western Kenya regions, where then we do limited number of services. So, and then of course we are in communities, which is taking care of our patients. So this is the integrated healthcare delivery, which I would now expand it to Western Kenya, and how that healthcare from home, telemedicine, community nurses who are going to the healthcare and communities are coming to OHC, coming to Kisii, and coming to Kisumu, and then of course going to Nairobi, which is our hub in Kenya. And that is where the innovation comes. And just to take you further in that, we all know about Kisumu Hospital. That is our hub hospital for the Western Kenya. Within that, now we know that Kisii has been our flagship for our first medical center in Kenya, in the Western region. And we are so pleased because it started as a small clinic, but now it's a full-fledged medical center. And then we have all these amazing centers, and we continue to expand and continue to plan. We are just developing our 5 years strategic plan, where this is going to be further expanded to many other communities within the Western Kenya and the province related to and the neighborhood related to Kisii and Kisumu. I am so pleased to share. Of course, you are sitting there. Of course, you said that you see that, but we are so honored to be welcomed by your community to not just be present, but to expand. And I would take this opportunity to thank you all for really giving us the support you gave. You guys are amazing. And absolutely, moving forward, we plan to further expand that. Kisii has started, and I'm not going into a lot of numbers, but this just tells you that how we are working with you in the community, and slowly and surely, and of course these are quarterly, slowly and surely reaching out to the to the communities. I would like to spend just 1 minute related to, and I talked about quality being our mantra, and this is where my host who introduced me talked about how I work very closely with Joint Commission International or Safe Care, which is another very important accreditation body which is approved, which is actually linked and has been working very closely with Ministry of Health. Even when we started Kisii, we were not just building the hospital, we were building the clinicians. And these clinicians and the processes are based on evidence-based processes, which I talked about. And I'm pleased to inform today that our Kisii Medical Center is level 5 certified from Safe Care, and we are implementing our Joint Commission International Accreditation standards in here, where we are monitoring the mortalities, the morbidities, the complaints, the suggestion which community gives it to us on a very regular basis. So when I was thinking of preparing this presentation, and I thought, in the healthcare, what are some of the low-hanging strategies which our board, His Highness the Aga Khan, and our board guide us as the principles to move forward. And one of them is very strong, which is helping us to maintain our strategies, is public-private partnerships. And I think I would like to just take next few minutes to talk about what and how do we work, because we can't work in silos. Aga Khan is not a silo. We are in Kenya, in Kisii, in Western Province as a partner with our public and other private sector available. I'm going to give you an example, a case study from Kisii, from your region, of how we work on that, and what are the lessons learned, which I'm hoping that I'm sure some of you know about it, who are extensively engaged in PPPs. In AKHS East Africa, we have many types of PPPs. We need to ensure that we give access. We need to ensure that we have research capacity, education capacity, and human resource development capacity. And for that, we need to partner. We partner with private institutions, we partner with public institutions, we partner together with multiple public and private partners. And these are not something which we take lightly. We develop structures. We have PPP operational portfolios, which we really work toward and pay attention from the opportunity to the monitoring and evaluation, M&E as we call it, in these PPP performance. So again, excellence. Strive for excellence. Whatever we start is our motto. Do we always succeed? Of course not. There are times we learn, we stumble, we fall, we put ourselves up, we learn from those opportunities. So a lot of these a partnership, we really work towards reducing mortalities and morbidities. And I will talk about cancer in a minute. We look at infrastructure. How do we increase important thing, the buildings, the IT, the infrastructure, capacity building, people, community level engagement, so important for us. How do we get into digital health, especially now with COVID, where COVID is taking over a lot of healthcare facilities, and non-COVID patients could actually suffer because they are scared of coming to hospitals and so on and so forth. And again, research and education plays a very important role. we have many MOUs, and you just heard about an MOU, and I was so pleased to hear that. We have MOUs with medical centers, with universities, with private people, with many donors, etc., etc. And these MOUs are the ones which we continue to monitor and keep a very close track of. And this is where a good structure needs to be put in place first, to put these processes in place. Let me give you an example of access to quality care through extending and strengthening health system. And this is really Access Project. The Access Project, which is now something which we worked in your neighborhood in Kisii. And this is where I would talk about how did we manage to have this Access Project work with public sector, private sector, funders, and Aga Khan as private not-for-profit. We targeted the group in Kenya. It is an international project in Mozambique, Pakistan, Mali. In Kenya, we did that in Coast and in Kisii. And what was our target? Access, women in reproductive age, newborn children, children under 5, community health volunteers, health personnel in community, etc., etc. And this is where we really worked with project planning and how do we touch more and more lives. And this was a project for 117 million K shilling. Ultimate outcomes, let's get and reduce maternal and child mortality. We had many intermediate outcomes which we worked on. Delivery of gender response, gender, environment, sustainability. All of these are so important. I talked about the arm, that health is not alone. Health needs to work with other sectors to deliver. So there were many other intermediate outcomes which we did. And of course, those are the Access Project inception. We worked with many agencies within your county, as you can see, and of course the governor and AKDN team, other partners in Kisii project were approached, and we worked together. There were many structure. I told you that we need to go and look at what is available in public sectors, in private sector. We worked on our Kisii Medical Center, but we also worked on Kenyana SCS maternity block, for example. We looked at how do we improve that hospital's MNCH environment, facility to make it safe. Safety is very important. We looked at borehole. We looked at installation of filtration system. Again, these go hand in hand in the project. Equipment, how do we ensure safe equipment which are important for the outcomes of maternal and babies are given? So we worked on those, including weighing scales to baby cots to generators, which is important for safe care, and so on and so forth. Something which I would like to talk about is ICT equipment, giving our clinicians, our doctors, and our nurses tools to work in ICT and with ICT and IT, and the young students who are sitting around the table, who are not doctors, who are not nurses. Hospital is not about doctors and nurses. Hospital is beyond that. Think about the generator technicians, the MEP technicians, talk about IT technicians or engineers. We work with multi-system to develop this. So all of you are important for us to deliver safe patient care. And this is an example of how we worked on that. And we went to the sub-counties. We worked on many different aspects of that. Very pleased to share some of these, that how we worked and hand in hand with the people on the ground. Capacity building. Again, I talked about that very important pillar for us, leadership and management training, international clinical evidence-based training in maternal and newborn and cancer, cervical cancer training, etc. Multiple weekly continuous medical nursing education topics and trainings which we covered. And again, this is where we can all partner with amazing Polytechnic University, Polytechnic colleges, and you all sitting around the table. Let's put our heads together. Our role is to work with you to develop tomorrow's leaders, tomorrow's people who are needed in healthcare. We know the gaps. You can help us do that. So I would welcome the discussion later after this, that how do we work together, that we can give you our gaps in the capacity building, and you can give us those young people who can be absorbed in healthcare industry. I talked about IT. I will not go beyond that, but there are so many things which we worked with sub-county, with the support of sub-county, and working towards data management, information use, etc. Once again, important aspect, quality improvement, quality plans, and infection and prevention committees, etc., which we worked on. We went to the communities, developed 10 community units. Remember, these are not the people, these are not really done by nurses or doctors these are trained community workers as per the government policy. We did a lot of work with self-help groups and promoted community dialogue sessions, etc., to ensure that our community health workers, 100 of them, community health centers, 70 of them, and the other members were trained over there. eHealth did a lot of work on that and continue to support and monitor them. And these are not doctors and nurses. These are all young people with so many other subspecialization and training, working with healthcare to make healthcare comprehensive. Evaluation of a project is extremely important. I mentioned that no project should be done without putting a structure to take this project forward, and also to make sure that M&E, the monitoring and evaluation, is happening, and we continue to work on that. Which we continue to do, a lot of key sustainable milestones have been achieved by this, through your county, through the sub-county, in sustaining the various initiatives and objective we took, we decided to take on, and I'm so pleased, and once again, indebted and very thankful to your leadership, county leadership, your government leadership, and other public and private places. I will not go into a lot of details of that, but suffice to say that it is an initiative which made me think that for your conference today, what could be the unified foundation for sustainable development? A great successful partnership between private and public and NGOs who are there, partnership to develop the future of our country, to take leadership in these initiatives. I will not go into the second one, which was more into the a Tanzanian one, but the process is the same. In the light of the time, I will just skip the second case study, which was done again in the same format, and we called that IMPACT, which is maternal, newborn, and health in Mwanza district in Tanzania. I want to talk about what are the lessons learned. So how do we ensure that we sustain these developmental aspects and achieve our objectives? Very important that we involve our partners in the early in the program. And again, I would like to welcome the partners sitting around here today to let's work together. Let's start thinking about some of these projects. The joint planning and the open dialogue will lead to a successful partnership. Let's identify goals and priorities. Sometimes our goals might be a bit different than the public sector, and so forth. But there is no reason why we all can't sit together and influence each other's behavior and change policy at all levels together. Engagement and communication, I think, is the most important aspect. Something I want to leave behind, which is joint sustainability plan. Whether it is a PPP initiative, or it is a county initiative, or it is a university or college initiative, how do we sustain that we do not then in the next 3 years or so say we don't know how to manage? So some of those are important lessons which we learned, and those challenges which I just talked about. There are many good ways of managing. We need to work together with the communities, with government, with county leadership to have sustainable outcomes, which is really helping us to lead to a better outcomes for our communities. With that, I would stop and thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for arranging this very absolutely amazing conference and bringing all of us together who are really from PPP, public and privates, NGOs, not-for-profit privates partnership. This is a classic example of a great PPP for me. With that, thank you. Over to the organizer.
And, we appreciate that you had time for us. We also look forward to more collaborations other than the one existing now. We also look forward to you helping us develop the cardiac technology, the curriculum that we need to start in this institution. We also look forward to greater partnerships with the Agar Health Services. Thanks a lot for having time for us. We have really been enriched with your keynote address. We have really seen how far we can go with the Agar Health Services. Thanks a lot and God bless.
Thank you.
I invite Dr. Mokua to wrap it off and give us what we expect tomorrow.
Good evening, everybody. Now it's good that we have come to the end of our program today. Now I have this announcement to make for tomorrow. We are going to have our paper presentations. Is the first item there is tomorrow at the new building where we did a paper presentation yesterday. So we have the 4 breakaways, and because of the interest of time, and we have a backlog from today and yesterday, I'm asking all the paper presenters to come earlier so that we can start at 8, exactly 8 in the morning. Now, as you come to present, and those who presented today, make sure you come with a hard copy of your full paper for the judges to look at so that they can give the final marks. Remember, we are awarding the best 3 presenters, research paper presenters tomorrow. So make sure you come with that hard copy so that they can complete the evaluation exercise. Those ones who have finished presenting and they have also submitted full papers to the judges, make sure you stay until the end of the closing session so that if you are the winner, you can receive your award. The best 3 will be awarded. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. And I hope that the same communication can be done on your digital platforms so that everybody gets the information. Can you rise as we pray for closing? Simame tuombe. Father, in the name of Jesus, we come to your divine presence this evening. We thank you for your being with us throughout the day. We prayed that you be with us from the beginning to the end, and you have delivered your promise, oh Father. As we leave this meeting today, we pray for journey mercies for those who are traveling.